How's the connection going with Sam?
After 20 years, you know we back on. No more Snyder, more McLaurin. One full with the passion, you know we scoring. FedEx field bag lit, no it is not boring. John Allen lead the troops, yeah you know we storming. Burgundy and gold in my veins, yeah I bleed that. St. Jude saw the ball, grab a pig, yeah I need that. YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, we're back with yet another Watch with Juan Gotti as we're going to be reacting to the press conferences from today's practice. We got a couple people that we're hearing from, Terry McLaurin, Montez Sweat, and obviously Coach Rivera. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new content like this to the channel. Want to roll to 6,000 subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Let's check out this presser.
See this place sold out on Saturday and the buzz and the energy that this place had. Something I hadn't probably quite experienced since I've been here, but it was just cool to feel that that energy that everybody's bringing, and now it's on us to put the work in now so we could give everybody something to cheer for and we could be consistent this year.
Always great day.
Hey, Terry, I think we've been told the pads are coming on tomorrow.
Yeah.
You always hear O-line, D-line get excited about that.
Definitely.
Do you get excited about that?
Oh, definitely, because I like part of my game is I like to run my routes physical as well, and sometimes when you're running jerseys, it kind of allows you get grabbed a little bit more than you would like. But when you get the pads on, it's easier to use your hands, throw guys by, run through their chest a little bit, and be a little bit more physical. And that's what I'm preaching to our wide receivers right now, because it's good to get practice against our DBs because all of them play a different technique. But the number one thing you can do as a receiver is use your physicality, hold your space. And I think that's going to be a growth step for all of us next week. Tomorrow, now that the pads are going to come on, because there's really no excuse to be getting grabbed on because you should be being physical with them as well. And it's going to help us over the course of the season when we go against some tough press man teams and guys who like to be physical. You got to have that in your repertoire to be ready, especially our bigger guys. The young guys who have bigger frames. That should be one of the staples of their game is physicality. So I'm excited, and when pads come on, it raises the level of camp because, quite frankly, a lot of guys can kind of look good in shorts and shirts, but now the physicality comes out a little bit more. It's hot, you got pads a few days, so the mental grind of camp starts to weigh on you a little bit more, and that's when you got to start fighting through it and still be productive every day.
Great response by Terry. I was just about to say that, yeah, we talk about the past week of practice, of training camp. It was cool, it was fun. These players look good, these players look bad. It really ain't camp until pads come on. So for real, tomorrow is really like the first legitimate day where okay, we can start to see what guy is separating himself from the pack, or what guy is really not built for. We'll start to see that tomorrow when they turn on the pads or put on the pads.
How's the connection going with Sam?
It's going well. I think he's obviously has a lot on his plate, learning the offense, has to go through the reads. And as a leader, I'm just trying to be where I need to be, make sure my timing, my spacing is correct. And Coach Bobby's doing a great job of echoing that with the receivers. And I think we make his job easier by being where we need to be, so he doesn't have to worry about not only the checks, the reads, getting the call in, but dang, my guys are not at the right depth. So, I'm taking ownership of that. We're all still learning the offense. But one thing about him, he's not afraid to throw the ball down the field, which is exciting. And he's going to give guys a chance to make a play down the field, and he throws a really nice deep ball. So, he's growing. I like how he's doing and how he's communicating with us as well.
Terry, do you put expectations on your own production? This is new for everybody. Yeah. You've put up big numbers with a lot of different quarterbacks, but this whole offense is different. How are you kind of thinking about your production this year?
Yeah, I think EB really preaches, selflessness, and it's not really necessarily about your touches or about the yards you're going to put up individually, but how you bring what you need to this offense to make us successful as a team. And so that's something that's always at the forefront of my mind, how I could be my best self for the team. And if that's coming out here and putting up big stats, that's what I'm prepared to do. I know I can do. But at the end of the day, I'm going to do what's asked of me and be somebody EB and Sam could trust. But at the end of the day, you want to be the workman, the bell cow, But I'm just focused on trying to be the best leader that I can, but also making sure I'm improving as an individual and learning this offense.
Terry, it is another year where you do have another new quarterback, and that's been a storyline throughout your time here.
Yeah.
But I'm curious on how you approach that when did you get used to, like, well, sometimes it just changes, and is there a different level of optimism this time?
Yeah, shoot. Probably about year 2 or year 3, you know what I mean? I kind of was like, there's a little bit of turnover at the quarterback position, but at that point, you know, I already had in my mind, like, I don't use that as an excuse as to why I don't do my job, and I don't use it as a crutch.
I do want to pause right here and talk about that. Terry, you don't got to worry about not using that as an excuse, because us fans, we're using that as an excuse. Yeah, you go out there and make your plays with whoever's at quarterback, but we know if you had a legitimate quarterback like potentially Sam Howell, it would be much more production. So you don't got to worry about using the excuse. You don't have to look at it as an excuse, or you can look at it as an excuse. But for us, we're looking at it as, hey, that's a problem.
Crutch, and with Sam, it's been great so far. It was good to get a feel for him, obviously, in the last game against Dallas. But as we've gone over the course of this offseason, we've thrown together. We've gotten some reps out here. I think one thing that strikes me with him is we have a nuanced connection. Even with Dayami, he just has a good feel of throwing the ball down the field, and we really don't have to talk about landmarks and putting air under the ball. He just has a really good feel of throwing the ball down the field, and that's a strength of my game. I know that's a strength of a lot of our receivers' game, and I think that's something that we're looking forward to trying to put on the field this year is taking those shots down the field, but also being consistent in underneath routes and spacing the ball out and things like that. So it's been great so far, and I'm excited to work with him, and hopefully we can. He's going to be our guy for the future.
Well, and how much has that instability, not just your game, but the franchise as a whole, that instability at that position, how much has it really kind of hindered things over the last several years?
Well, everybody knows, you know, this is a quarterback-driven league, and everybody's looking for their guy. And, you know, if you look at the guys who've won the Super Bowl and been consistently in the playoffs, they have that guy that they've been relying on for some time now. And, you know, obviously we're still looking for that guy. I think we've had success. I think we've had guys come in here and help us win games. And I've learned from all the guys I've gotten to play with. But, you know, obviously we just want someone who's going to be consistently out there and continue to grow with us as a group. And, you know, I'm confident in the quarterbacks we have in that building right now, that hopefully that's going to be happening. And I think Sam has, like I said, done a great job of being a leader at such a young age. But he has a confidence about him that is you can't help but to notice. So I'm excited to work with him along with the rest of our group and our offense, and we're going to see where we're going to go from there.
Terry, you mentioned the confidence from the first start in Week 18 that Sam had through this point in camp.
Yeah.
Just mentally, how have you seen him handle the huddle, handle his position? Has that grown a little bit?
Yeah, to be honest, you really don't even see him get flustered. Even when he's had a few maybe rough patches during practice, he doesn't hang his head. He's not yelling, cussing, things like that. He stays pretty even keel, which is really unique for a young guy like that. And not only that, I think that struck me in the Dallas game because we had a turnover, but he still wasn't afraid to push the ball down the field. And I think with this being a passing league, you still got to stay aggressive. It's really cool to see a young guy who's not afraid to continue to give his guys catches or guys opportunities down the field. Because at the end of the day, our receivers and our group are going to have to fight through some adversity. The defense are going to make plays across the season, but the last thing we do is get down on each other. I think EB echoes that a lot, like staying consistent in what we do. And I think that starts with the quarterback, and so far he's done a really good job. And I know he still has time to grow, but that comes with us rallying around him and doing our jobs to make his job easier.
Thanks, Terry.
No problem. Appreciate you guys.
Alrighty, so as we know, it's always a pleasure to hear from 1-7, and he's always going to give you the real. Love him from Terry McLaurin. He said a lot of great things, especially about Sam Howell. And long story short, man, just like Terry, I hope, you hope that Sam Howell's the guy. And it's just it's just this confidence in him that we have, that we finally think we killed the quarterback problem here in Washington. But only time's going to tell. Sam Howell's going to have to prove it, but everybody's behind him. All right, next up, we're going to hear from defensive end Montez Sweat. Let's see what Tez has to say in today's press conference.
But I guess what is your view? I mean, you guys obviously worked out together this offseason, so how do you kind of see him progressing and the two of you together?
Yeah,
talking about Chase. Okay.
Chase looks real good. I mean, one thing I can say that he has developed on, he's starting to be more of a pro. He's always been a pro, but I think ever since the injury, as far as the cold tub and the pre-practice and the treatments after practice and just things and stuff like that, that's why I think he's upped his game a lot.
one thing I can say about Montez Sweat, similar to Deron Payne and countless others, even Cam Curl. But I mean, less Cam Curl, more Deron Payne and Montez Sweat, because Cam Curl still don't really like the media. He just talks because, you know, he has to. But if it was up to Cam Curl, he probably would have even skipped, you know, media, man. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just how he rocks, right? Montez Sweat, similar. Deron Payne, similar. But what I can say about them is that they definitely are getting a little bit more comfortable every time they step into the media.
With Chase, going to Ohio State with him, what was that process like, and what did you kind of make of Larry Johnson's tutoring?
It felt kind of weird being on another college campus at first, but we both knew what we was there for, and that was to get better. And just honing in on some of the techniques from Coach Larry Johnson. He was actually great. We brought some of the things that we did in Ohio back out here to just for pre-practice and stuff like that we do. So, yeah, it was great. It was a great experience.
And with the maturing that Ben asked about, how much of that was kind of the 21 season and what you guys went through? Or did that play into the factor at all of not getting too confident or anything like that? Or?
I mean, as soon as my first year in the league, I got a culture shock. I mean, I think we went like 1-16, so that humbled me as soon as I got in the league. So the next year.
3-13, Tez. 3-13. I wish we went 1-16 hindsight, because that mean we would have had Joe Burrow. But 3-13, Tez. We wasn't that much better.
Yeah, I was better mentally. So I think that just happens every year.
What are some of those things you brought back from Ohio State?
Just some hand techniques, some get-offs, some just D-line techniques, the things that help us out on the field.
When you talk about wanting to get better each year, do you put numbers to it? Do you think, like, I just want to be better than I was last year? What are your expectations for a season?
I mean, I used to feel like that, but I mean, after a certain while, you realize it's not really in the numbers. It's just about affecting the game. How can you affect the game?
When did that change for you?
So I don't know. It just changed.
Noticed the other day you walked out, there was this Pay Montez sign out there. You being in a contract year, Chase being in a contract year, what's it like when guys at your position and you see Deron and Jonathan get paid? What's it like, kind of the uncertainty of that?
I mean, it's not necessarily an uncertainty. I mean, you know it's going to happen at some point. You just keep your head down and work, and you listen to the guys, your peers around you. I mean, John and Deron, they give me nuggets and advice all the time on just keep on doing what you're doing, and everything will come to fruition.
You obviously worked with Chase, played alongside Chase. Just how impressed are you by kind of the slow steps he's taken to get back to this point?
I mean, I'm not necessarily impressed. I mean, it's who he is. He's a incredible football player. I mean, that's what I expect. That's what we expect. Thank you.
All right, so that was from Tez. As we know, again, like I said, Cam Curl, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, they don't really like the media like that, but they all are getting comfortable, getting in front of the media. Tez said a few good things. Mainly, they asked him about Chase Young. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely excited to see what they do together. They had a Pay Montez Sweat sign out there, and, he did the same kind of answer Cam Curl answer, and that is the right answer, hey, I'm just out here to play ball, and that's going to take care of itself. So always great to hear from Montez Sweat, and I'm hoping for a big year from him and Chase Young. All right, and to close out this video, we're going to hear a little bit from Coach. I'm pretty sure he's going to touch on the Jamin Davis situation, so I'm interested to hear what Coach has to say about that.
You get to a certain point, obviously, when those conversations, could occur. But right now, as we're still kind of feeling our way through, especially with new ownership, those are all conversations that, that are still a work in progress in terms of bringing them up to speed where we are, bringing them up to speed as to what our desires are going forward. That's probably the biggest thing that we still are working through. I mean, that will be one conversation after the other, everything from, meeting in person to phone calls, Zoom calls, just trying to, so they understand what our plan is going forward. And so we know what, their feelings are on the subjects.
Ron, you mentioned Chase Young looks solid. When you were kind of taking a very conservative approach with him last season, I wonder how tough that was in the moment, and if you're finally feeling the fruits of kind of being kind of cautious with him now.
Very, very, very tough. I mean, we wanted him to get him out there as soon as we could. It was almost kind of a pie in the sky that he would be who he is. I mean, the truth of the matter is when the guy goes through an ACL, very few guys, can do what Adrian Peterson did. And so it's just going to be a matter of time. He had to work through those things, but we were hoping he would get back soon, but it just didn't work, and that's all part of it.
And let me point out to that, man. Again, we got to remember Chase Young did not just have a tear in the ACL. He had so much other stuff that was wrong with his knee. So it wasn't just regular, ACL, he's back in a year, and then he's ready to work. Chase Young had to go through so much last year with his knee and, obviously rehabbing and everything like that. And then later in the season, he wanted to play. So as bad as I wanted to see Chase Young and as frustrated as some fans were with him not playing, looking at it now, I'm glad he didn't play earlier than what he should have, because now we got the full Chase Young back. And not to say that we wouldn't have had the full Chase Young back if he played earlier, but better safe than sorry, right?
We saw Chris Paul working in with the ones a little bit. What have you seen from him so far, I guess, in camp? And then kind of what do you see from him working with the ones that you might not see with him working with the twos?
Who he gets to work against. I mean, just having him get the opportunity to work against Jonathan, work against Duran, that's important. And his growth and development as a football player for us. He's one of the young guys, coupled with Sam and Sadiq, that we're going to count on to be part of that interior for us. And so we want to make sure he gets some work with the ones. It was one of the things that we do. We do it consciously. We did it. We've done it every year that we've been together. And so we'll continue to do that. Where specific guys that we know are going to get opportunities to play or that may have to play, we've got to get them work now. And we're going to mix a few more guys in the next few days as well.
Before 2021, you had some young defenders who were confident, talking about records, things like that. This year, you have young defenders who are pretty confident. Cam saying he thinks it's going to be a top 5 defense. Is it a different type of confidence, or is it sort of similar between these 2 years?
I think they're a little more mature. I do. I think it's a group of guys now that they've been together for 4 years. There's a lot of confidence in what we're doing and how we do it. I think certain guys in key positions have matured. And I think with that, it's okay to be confident. But again, you still got to go out and do the work. And that's the thing that these guys have to do is continue to do the work, continue to practice the way they're practicing. And then when it's time to play, play. And again, I appreciate their confidence. As long as it's not coupled with immaturity, I feel pretty good about it.
What are the things that you see that show you that? Are there specific things on the field, or is it in the meeting room? Where is that?
It is, to say it's only on the field or out in public, no. It's when you watch them do the little things that are important when it's meetings, when they're in walkthrough, when they're in practice. I mean, it's like watching some of the guys right now. Once practice is done and coach is done, you're done. But a couple of guys want to go out and they work with each other. They talk about some of the calls and some of the techniques they can use. They work on catching the balls. I mean, these are things that are going above and beyond what we expect from them. So, when we see, as I walk through and I see, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys still out there working together, on their own without coaches around them, that's impressive. They think they need to work together, continue to do that. That to me is just showing maturity.
Ron, when did you start to see that turn?
I would say a year ago when we talked about what they were doing in OTAs and minicamp, you could start to see that practice would be over and, the what could be projected, say, those are going to be the starting 5 or 6 DBs back there. You see them, they would stay and do a little extra, and they do it on their own. And that was promising. And that gives you, the confidence in them that says, okay, they get it. They're doing the things that are right. They're maturing the way you need them to, and watching, the way Cam Curl's doing things, that's what you need from a young man that's, potentially one of your true leaders back there.
And then off the field, Jamin missed practice today to be,
Yes.
I guess, in court and all that. I'm curious your thoughts on that. And I think he's still trying to work out a plea agreement or something like that.
Right. Well, he's going through the legal process, and as he goes through it, we just got to be here and be supportive of him, and and understand that this is the legal process that he has to go through.
Coach, another off the field question. Shortly after you spoke with Don Geronimo last week here, he apparently made some sexist comments about another broadcaster, female. The team took action. The team's radio partner took action. A lot of people were applauding that. Your reaction to all that happened and the reaction to it?
Well, I just appreciate, that we're sticking to the things that we talked about that we would do. And for the most part, we made the statement about it, and I think the statement holds true to how I feel.
Ben, last one.
Hey, Ron, just sort of a broad question, I guess. 1 week into this, what has maybe surprised you the most about whatever you've seen out here from your guys?
I think first and foremost, I'm very pleased and pleasantly surprised of the way we've had the fans embrace us. And I really do appreciate that. Secondly, I love the way the players have reacted to it. I think that they recognize and realize just how important it is to go out there and be your best for these folks. I think that's been big. The next thing has been on the offensive side has been the retention. Eric has thrown a lot at them, and I think the guys have responded and handled it for the most part pretty well. There are some mistakes that do need to be cleared up and cleaned up. Next thing I really do appreciate is defensively, the way the guys have handled some of the tweaks and adjustments that Jack and them have put in. They've handled those very well. And then the whole team aspect of it. Our defensive guys know our offensive guys are going through a lot right now. They're trying to learn and adapt to a new system and style. And you see these guys talking to each other. You see the defensive guys explaining certain things to our offensive guys when something happens in practice. You hear them out, when they're inside, talk about those things offensively and defensively together. Like I said, there is some maturity out here, and I'm really excited about that because I think that's all part of the growth process that we've had to go through, in what's going to be our fourth season now, is that we've got to take steps. We've got to take certain kinds of steps, and maturity has always been one of the things that I did talk about and I do think is important for our guys.
And with pads coming out tomorrow, what are you looking to see? What's the next step for your guys, or what are you kind of most going to focus on with that change?
Well, I think part of it is now is how the intensity will wrap up and how things will speed up, and it's really just about adapting to that as quick as possible. I mean, there's a certain nature that you have to have about you when you step onto the field, a certain grit and toughness that has to be developed through practicing in pads, and we're going to try and do it very smart, very diligently. We'll go 2 days in pads. We'll back off the guys for a day, go out there in shelves again, and then come back in pads for a fourth practice this week, and then they'll have their day off. But the idea again is that we've got to work through this, and we've got to develop that grit that you're going to need to play when you're in pads. And so I'm looking forward to, and again, the continued growing and maturing as a football team.
All right, so it's always great to hear from Coach, as always. And number one thing that I took away from that he said 1,000,000 times was maturity. Maturity, maturity. You're in year 4, Ron Rivera, so we should definitely be a mature team now. And I'm excited to see how that translates to the field. Pads go on tomorrow, so the thing really get active and things really start to go down. So stay tuned for that. As always, it's been boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Want to roll to 6,000 subscribers. Please hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. Thank you so much. See you later. I'm out. Peace.